Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals, and here today I've got game 1 of a best of 3. It's between a brilliant Zerg and a terrifying Terran. It's from the TvZ UK Masters Season 1 Finals. And as I said, best of 5. So let's jump straight in and introduce these two players. Spawning on Daybreak in the top right hand position, the blue Zerg representing Team Liquid, Rhett. And his opponent down in the lower left, from Team Western Wolves, we've got the pink Terran, Sting. Now both of these two are incredible, each in very, very different ways, I must say. They have quite different personalities, but both absolutely spectacular people I had the pleasure of meeting at Insomnia 48 in the TvZ UK Masters Grand Finals. And yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to hang out with them, speak to them, albeit I spoke quite a bit more to Rhett because obviously Sting's translator had a lot of work to do. So yeah, they are absolutely amazing people and I cannot wait to see how this best of 5 goes. Now, I will admit that I know who wins the series, and I kind of know that because obviously this is in the bracket play and I was there casting lots of it and I know who is in the finals and everything, but I'm not going to give it away to you guys because you may not have seen it, you may not have watched the tournament, which if you did and you really missed out. But yeah, no spoilers, this is just going to be like a self-contained best of 5, as all of the TvZ replays I'll be casting on my channel will be, because some people might just want to watch the games and not want to know the story. But if you do want to know the story, TvZUKMasters.com. So, we got a hatch first out of Rhett, that's to be expected, nothing strange going on there. And there's no reason you wouldn't go hatch first against Terran, it's really safe, and actually Sting going command center first as well. So, these two, like the macro, it would seem. So, that is just good news, and I apologise now. I seem to be in one of these hyperactive moods where I keep saying so, and so, and so, and so, and so, but I will try my utmost not to do that and vary my vocabulary as much as possible. But for some reason, I am so hyperactive right now. It's completely crazy because I've been awake for like 18 hours? That's a long time. And I only slept for about 4 hours as well last night because I've just been so crazy busy and I'm still finding time to do my daily cast because I have to do that sort of thing. But yes, I'm really hyperactive. I think it could be sleep deprivation. So if I suddenly start screaming about the stalkers or void rays or something, please forgive me. I am just probably on the brink of passing out. If I suddenly go quiet as well, one, question how I managed to upload the video still, but two, I may have just fallen asleep. Or if I go silent for like 10 seconds, I blinked, had a quick power nap and woke back up again, but I hope that won't happen. Anyway, back to the game. 1 gas, 1 barracks for Sting, meanwhile 1 spawning pool for Rhett. He's probably going to go and take a relatively quick third base. Why do I think that? Because ultimately he scouted with this Overlord, sees that there was a command center first opening, and knows that he either has to punish off of 2 bases or out-expand his opponent to stay ahead economically. There are no other options. That is all he can do, one or the other, and if he does neither of those, then frankly he may just lose. But nope, not Rhett. Rhett's not the sole person who'll do that. His third base should be coming up relatively soon. Meanwhile for Sting, he's getting down this factory. He's still got the gas there. Are we going to see a reactor? Of course we will see a reactor. Once he hits that magical 50 gas, it will go down. That is when we can start seeing most probably reactor Hellions, although I wouldn't put it past Sting to go for some Widow Mines because he likes those Widow Mines and he uses them very effectively, and I love that. I love Widow Mines, they're so cool. They're like, anyone who's come to my channel frequently would know that I always call Widow Mines reusable burrowed banelings, and it makes me very, very happy to say that, but boy do I love them. But yep, Rhett is going for 2 gas very, very early on. This bunker in such a defensive position, that's why the unbuildable plates are getting focused on. You might be like, why is Sting wasting his Marines ammo on these unbuildable plates? It's so he can build another supply depot here to better defend this bunker, reduce the surface area, Zerglings etc. could get into it, and just generally be a complete boss, because that's the sort of thing Sting would do. Here's the third base for Rhett. Remember I mentioned that earlier. This is just him staying economically ahead. The worker count is in Rhett's favour, and it will be that way, but of course, well, mules are somewhere. Here's the mules! Muling the main base, that's actually quite interesting. That is very interesting, because a lot of Terran players will mule the natural quite a lot earlier, just to make sure that they mine out. You don't mine out your main too quickly, because obviously 2 mules in the main, when you've been mining from it anyway, does tend to work things along quite quickly. But here we go, Sting going for double engineering bay. Also, that third command center nearly finished up. I probably should have mentioned that slightly earlier. But this just means one thing and one thing only. Sting is in it for the macro game. He's going to use these Hellions that are powering their way across the map in order to gain map dominance. That map dominance allows him to do greedy things like this, because if Red is defending against Hellions, he's not going to be attacking because he's defending. And that is the ultimate aim of this play. Sting's entire build is revolving around this. He's also just started Sting has started Stim. That is nearly as hard to say as Bling has started Blink. What is it with these people and their alliteration in unit upgrades and, of course, their usernames? One Overlord going kaput. That means that Ret is temporarily supply blocked for like another 10 seconds, which is never something that you really want to find. The Spine Crawler will get a couple of pokes off. All that Hellion, be careful. The drones, run the drones, wait, oh, line them! Oh dear, the drones all lined up. That is less than perfection. And I can tell you that a grand total of 9 drones were killed there. So Sting is probably going to be very happy with 9 drones for 4 Hellions, especially when it puts him ahead in the SCV count. He's got his 3rd orbital command, and my goodness, he's floating it down at 8 minutes. That is very, very early on, Sting, who's made some Widow Mines, because Sting makes Widow Mines, and Widow Mines are awesome because they're what? Reusable burrow banelings. So see how I'm linking it all together? I'm making these little paths in your head, making you think, I remember when he said that earlier. It's all just trickery and mischief to try and make you remember this more, because this is a joyous game and a joyous series, which I'm far too excited about, because I just know these two are great and their play is great. Anyway, Red, Baneling Nest, Lair, everything piecing together just what we'd expect. Double upgrades, melee upgrades, it's important to note, not range, so we're not going to be seeing any swarm hosts or roach hydra or anything like that. This is all about the Zerglings, probably into Ultralisk late game as well, because Ultras are fun units. We've also got more barracks coming out from Sting, so that means what? Well, he's going to be going for mainly a lot of Marines, going to get some tanks out, and of course, medevacs, because medevacs are fun. We've got another factory coming out. Now, this is an interesting choice, getting a second factory. Usually you don't see, well actually you do, to be fair, you do get the second factory up off of 3 bases. What am I talking about? But yeah, some Lings did do a little bit of damage here, not much though. Nice little wall off coming down here. This is a minor little Sim City trick that I really like, because he's blocking attack paths that Ret can utilize to minimize the amount of damage that Speedlings can do. Ret also getting down his Spire. Mutaling Bling is such the meta game against Terran at the moment, because, well, Mutalisks are good anyway. You can come and harass mineral lines, they can pick off tanks, medevacs as well. One useful thing is if you've got drops and you expect your opponent to be very drop heavy, you can chase it down with medevacs. And yes, the medevac will speed away with their magical afterburner boost ability, but that runs out after a few seconds. That's when Mutalisks catch up and kill them, and that is so satisfying. We do have the Overseer morphing in, the Zerglings coming in to deal with this, and Sting is being denied his drop. Meanwhile, we've got Ret just with the drones chilling down here. What are you going to do, drone? Become a building. You can do it. There we go. Good little drone. Meanwhile, drops still boosting around, trying to get a couple of drone kills. The Zerglings and the Banelings. The Zerglings and the Banelings. Come on, pull them over, Ren. You can do this. You can do this. This is exactly all we want. Notice, though, however, Sting tries to focus that down, but so many of the Marines die. Those poor Marines. The Spire, was it spotted? I believe it was not. So, that means that this is still somewhat unbeknown to Mr. Sting. He knows the double upgrades are coming up, but isn't quite certain what it's going to be. We do have a medevac boosting over, though. Spots the 4th base. Nice little pick up there. And, of course, Red had to take this because Sting took his 3rd so early. Going to take a little bit of damage, but the Queen's coming over. They should be able to put an end to this. We've also got some Lings streaming across just to really make sure that this hatch does stay up. The medevac pulling back, just making sure it's out of the range of the Queens, because otherwise it could get taken out. The drop would never be able to escape. But currently the medevac just being forced to playing a dangerous game here, trying to heal up. The Banelings rolling in, and that was a good little splitting there. You cannot split Marines any better than that. The medevac is now dead. The Queen, come on Queen, you can do this, you can do this Queen. You're not going to do it, you're going to die. You're going to die, Queen. 1 Marine boldly standing there, 17 health remaining, but the Zerglings coming to avenge the Queen's death. That is always good news. So, that is a little end of the action, but the Mutalisks are coming across the map. They're going to be able to do a good damage to this mineral line, because, well, actually there are missile turrets around here, actually. This is a good little play here. Looks like we're going to try and take this. Needs to micro back. His Mutalisk, though, does manage to take that out before it gets repaired. Nice little snipe. He could potentially start working away things like the Tech Lab, and that is exactly what he does. It's like he heard me. Meanwhile, push coming across the map here. We've got some Zerglings running around everywhere as well. Some Marines getting pulled back. The repair goes down on the Tech Lab just in time, and of course this push is now spotted. The medevac could get focused down. The tanks could take a little bit of damage just poking, prodding, because that's what you've got to do with Mutalisks. Always be poking, and then that way your opponent has to stop, has to make sure he's safe. Zerglings, Banelings can be spawned en masse, as we can see here. 34 on the way. 2-2 upgrades are complete. Compare that to Sting's 1-1. That means upgrade advantage. The Muta's still pulling back, making sure the Marines don't push too far forward. this just means that ultimately we can see Red try and push in. He's just waiting for some more banelings. They are starting to roll around because that is when you know it's a party. And all in all, Sting just needs to make sure he doesn't take too much damage. Got to keep the Marines with his tanks to make sure that they do not get taken out by those Mutalisks. Pathogen glands coming down as well as Hive. That means that it's most likely going to be Ultras because you need fungal growth in order to pin down the infantry, so it can't just kite the Ultras forever and ever and ever. But in come now these Zerglings from the front, from the back, from the side, the Mutalisks, and everything is just going up in green acid bombs. So, that was a nice little clean out. We do have some more siege tanks on their way over. The things are going to deal with those incredibly quickly with the 2-2 upgrades, and this was a tremendous little push by Red. That is precisely what we wanted to see. This is really ace. We do see now a big counter push coming in. Will Sting be able to hold this? Well, he's got a tank up on the high ground just spawning. He's only got a handful of lings remaining for Red though, but they're coming in. The bunker is going to do some good damage, and the Marines will clean out the rest. The Mutalisks pulling back. We've got more tanks, more Marines all on their way. Plus 3 upgrades, and adrenal glands all getting researched at the same time because Red, he likes them upgrades. He's getting his Ultralisk Cavern just as I was expecting, so things really piecing together. His 5th base is nicely on the way. Is there a 4th orbital command anywhere for Sting? Yes, nearly. In about 5 seconds there will be, so that was what I was expecting, but still, that means the Red should be able to stay a base ahead just because of the time it will take us to float over and things like that and morph into a planetary fortress. But Zergling coming to deny this. Are the Speedlings going to spot it in time? Because they can pull back and be like, no, this is getting denied, and that is exactly what they're going to do. The Widow Mine will get taken out, but we've got more units pushing forward. These Marines are now at 2-2. The upgrade's equal, but 3-3 started slightly sooner for Red. He's also got, of course, the plus 3 carapace coming down, whereas Sting only has plus 3 infantry weapons. The other thing Sting is really quite missing is the plus 1 vehicle weapons. That's something that's always beneficial. We do have a handful of Marines dropping down into the main base. Spot the Ultralisk Cavern. That should trigger more order reduction in order to counter that. The Mutalisks are coming in though. They're making sure this medevac has none of the fun that it wants to have. The Marines are getting dropped down, but Zergling streaming in as well. This is getting shut down. The Mutalisk does die though, which is less than ideal. Meanwhile, we've got a push coming down at the bottom of the map. Just making sure that this 4th base is going to go down. We have Infestors coming over. Zergling's Banelings on their way. Will they be able to do enough damage in time? We will see shortly, but in come the connection. Some tanks going down, but there is not enough units here for Red. This 4th base almost certain to fall. Luckily, he's got a spare one sitting in the middle of the map. Previously was a 5th, now gets upgraded to a 4th. So, this was a really nice push by Sting. Dropping rather into the main while pushing at the other side of the map, forcing Red to try and be in 2 places at once, and that, as we all know, is nigh on impossible. And overall, being spared its pleasant existence of just floating in the sky like a fluffy little cloud, just so Sting can keep the momentum of this push. He's got a Thor there, because Thors are good against Mutalisks if they stack up, and that's always fun to see. The Great Aspire also coming down. Chitinous Plating is nearly researched. We've got Zerglings pushing in though for the counterattack. The Planetary Fortress is still a long way away from completion, and these mules, oh, the mules, fire mules. It was nice seeing you. It was a pleasant trip. Marines pushing forward to the front though. We see the Ultras nomming their way. The tanks going on. Meanwhile, the Zerglings trying to deal with the Planetary Fortress on their own. Not going to be successful, but here comes the big siege break from Red. He's trying to punch straight through this fungal growth, going down the Ultras. Chomping, and the Marines blasting. The Infestors bungling everything and getting some good fungals off on a lot of those Marines. And with no Marauders, these Ultras being oh so effective, just chewing their way through everything. These Ultralists are hungry hippos. And I can't be the only one who desperately wants Blizzard to bring out a version of Hungry Hippos called Hungry Ultralists, because that would be epic. It would be like combining my childhood and esports love into one. Oh, Infestors getting sniped off here, and well, I just run out of excitement right there because of just Hungry Ultralists. Please, someone tweet at Blizzard, everyone tweet at Blizzard for Hungry Ultralists, because that would be such an ace game. Anyway, here we go, we've got Speedlings streaming in straight past a lot of infantry and tanks, so streaming back out again, a Widow Mine there, but Widow Mines do not trigger on Speedlings as long as they keep running, because they are so fast. They are the Usain Bolts of this world. You cannot even see them, and yeah, they just win in a race against Widow Mines detonating, so that's always fun times. Meanwhile, we've got Infestors, Ultras falling back, because suddenly this is not Marine only. Wow, Mutalisks, you're brave, you're going to get taken out though. The Infestors getting taken out. Sting, he has got real momentum here. The tank's trying to get into range. The Marauders need to deal with these Ultras. There's no Queens there for any repairs, and there's no support units either for these Ultras, which just means the tanks are shelling them to absolute infinity and beyond. and the Marauders are just grenading them to death indeed. So, this is all looking really, really good for Sting. Now, Red, he's desperately trying to get out some Broodlords. Where are they? They're a long way back. They're so slow as well. They're going to take a good amount of time to get here. Red cannot afford to lose this base, but I think he is going to, and it's going to be an absolutely monumental hold if he does manage to hold at all. The Ultralists, just 2 remaining on incredibly low health. They go down in the most agonizingly possible way I could imagine. That leaves just 3 Marines trying to deal with 4 Broodlords. Not really a fair fight. The tanks going to fall back with reinforcements on their way over. The Ultralists are no longer on the field. We've got command centers coming down absolutely everywhere. There's a grand total right now of 2 command centers, 5 orbital commands, and a planetary fortress. That is not overkill. That is going late game Terran. So, now, we do see Sting pushing down to the bottom of the map. He's got a nice little force of units. The Overlord does spot it though, so will we see Red react? But if Red does pull down to here, guess what? Units are going to stream in and come straight to the center base. They're going to pull out again though because Broodlords are there. But this bottom base, it's going to go down almost certainly. The tanks aren't siege though, so that's less than perfect and does mean that a lot of them are going to go down. And this may actually get cleaned up. And of course that is not what Sting would have wanted, losing all of that just as Zerglings and also losing an awful lot of tanks at the centre. This game is so close, they're back and forth constantly. This action is absolutely insane, boy do I love it. Upgrades for air, none in existence. 3-3 is done though, 3-2 only done though for Sting, so that slight upgrade advantage for Red really actually being quite beneficial. He's also getting more Corruptors, more Broodlords on their way. Thors are also in production. We've got Vikings, 4 of them already on the field, 2 at a time being produced as well from this reactor starport, and a ton queued up as well. Sting realizes that Red is just full transitioning into these basically Broodlords and Corruptor Force. Now, we do see this top base is getting nibbled away at. We can't really call it nibbling with cracklings because they are just so fast and so dangerous with 3-3. We can see that it will go down and Sting not even lifting it, which does leave a little treat to be desired, but he is going in for a doom drop. The spawning pool goes down, these units getting taken out. A single brave Corruptor leading the way, but the reinforcements coming from behind, but so many Marines dealing an awful lot of damage. The Marauders trying to take out the Queens, trying to take out the Ultralisk Cavern, denying the tech options, meanwhile pushing at the other side of the map as well with just a couple of tanks. But this main base taking so much damage. Red not even reacting with the Broodlords, just trying to pull back the Infestors to get some fungal growth. The Infestation Pit is about to fall. This is not looking good for Red. The Great Spire as well. All the tech at the main base, and it is all going to die in a horrible, horrible flames and rockets and medevacs. The Hive going down as well, putting Red back to the Stone Age. It's going to take him so long to tech back up. That means that Red has to win the game somehow now. If he cannot win with the army he's got at the moment, Sting is just going to outproduce him, but I don't think he's got enough of an army. Look at this for Sting, 120 army supply to just 60. Red's Broodlords desperately trying to make their way back. Only a few of them on the field though. There's 7. The Infestors running out of energy. The Broodlords going to start throwing down their Broodlings, dealing all the damage they can, but look at this. Sting, he's already got a replacement orbital command. He's got 2 more in the centre as well. He's cleaned out most of the drones as well, cleaned 49 this game. Red down to a measly 60 drones, which for Red is basically 0. We also see the natural base getting taken out. We've got the spawning pool and the Ultralisk Cavern trying to be rebuilt. That was started before the Hive fell. That was obviously a very, very good move, but Sting, he's now moving forward from every angle. Sting, he is all over Red at the moment. He's dealing all the damage he can. Takes out the Infestors, about to take out the Broodlords with the Vikings. The Corruptors desperately trying to get in, but the Marines are having none of that. And of course the Vikings will survive. 1 Broodlord remaining, needs to get focused down, but there is the GG, and Sting takes Game 1 of this best of 5. So like the video, leave a cool comment, subscribe, and then jump over to Game 3. I'll see you there any second now.